Welcome back to Small Biz Matters with Alexi Boyd. We're broadcasting from the floor of XeroCon. There's lots going on. There's people eating yummy food. There's people walking around. There's massages. And there's things that you can do to make yourself more healthy and more vibrant and more alive, because it is day 2 and we're all getting a little bit tired. As you may be able to hear in my voice, I've got Rebecca Gravestock here from Xero. She is a proud advocate of the well-being and nature of us as accountants and bookkeepers, looking after not only ourselves but also our clients. And you've been a strong advocate for changing not only, the conversation around what Xero does, but also internally what's happening in Xero as well. Tell me about some of those corporate changes you've made that help Xero, improve the lives of their own staff to begin with.
Sure, thanks Alexi. I guess really where this has all started from is that we really wanted to create a positive work environment, because ultimately when people feel safe, they feel that they can be themselves at work, then they're actually more productive, and it's better for business. And so I guess that's where it began in terms of thinking about our workplace and starting to create a positive work environment. But more and more what we've been hearing from our staff is that mental health is really, really important to them, and that we need to continue to keep pushing the dial on what we do to support people from a mental health perspective at work.
It seems like this is another channel in which Xero is leading the way. We were just talking to Trent about leading the way with big data, but leading by example seems to be a real focus for Xero. How do you think that trickles down to the small businesses that are ultimately your clients if you're doing the right thing?
Yeah, I think in terms of all that we do, we like to take that inside-out approach. So we feel that anything we do, we want to share with our community, and we feel it's our responsibility as well to really role model and show what can be done. And when it comes to well-being and looking after ourselves, there's so much we can do that's quite easy. And the nature of accounting and bookkeeping, the 24/7, the being on for clients, actually being often the first go-to for clients as well when they're in need is a really hard job. So I think us sharing more and more stories of what people go through, but also what we put in place for our staff, makes it easier for accountants and bookkeepers to put those in place as well.
One of the partnerships you've got that you're developing at the moment is with Beyond Blue. You've had them speak a couple of times today, and you've talked about the Heads Up program and the way that, advisors, as you said, who are in that space can communicate with businesses. Is it really important that people become aware of the Heads Up program to help?
Absolutely. I think for a lot of advisors, there's that real burden of feeling that they almost have to be a counsellor for their small businesses and not knowing what support there is for them. So using resources like Heads Up and all the new tools that Beyond Blue are releasing this week for advisors is actually helping them to know how to support small business owners and small businesses without going beyond what they're comfortable doing as well. So it's really supporting advisors to support small business, because they are often the closest person to those small businesses and can have the most impact.
I know this morning one of the things that Tim Hoopman, who's a regular guest on our program, talked about was the way that quite often as accountants and bookkeepers we will literally see someone crumble before us, and it's taking that first step. What are some of the first steps that Xero takes internally to support their staff? How do you train your staff? And then maybe some of the small businesses out there listening can think that that's something I can implement in my business.
It's really about being able to have that conversation and not being scared to have the conversation. So we say a lot, it's okay not to be okay. And so that hopefully allows our staff to feel that if there is an issue and they're not okay, that they can talk about it. But equally, if somebody notices a change in behaviour or thinks someone isn't quite right, then actually they should check and say, are you okay? And it's a really simple first step. We're also very privileged at Xero that as an employer we have an EAP program that we can use. So it does mean that there's another confidential resource there that our staff can do. Employee assistance program is the EAP, but often for small firms they don't have access to an employee assistance program. But what we're doing in New Zealand is that we've actually been trialling making our employee assistance program available to small businesses and also our partners. And we're really pushing to look at, again, other companies as well, looking at what they can do in terms of supporting small businesses and mental health.
So those that you partner with and those that you work with, you have an expectation that they have the same values as you. They have the same values as you do when it comes to, working and implementing programs like mental health.
Our partners do, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the thing, that we're really such an amazing community around Xero. And I feel like we all share those values about how important it is to be human and how important it is to look after our employees as well as ourselves. So it's so easy then for us all to rally together in terms of addressing mental health.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Rebecca. It's great to talk about wellbeing and mental health and see a big company like Xero really use that trickle-down effect by educating its advisors and ultimately the small business as well. Thanks for joining Alexi Boyd on Small Biz Matters. We'll talk to another couple of people on the floor of XeroCon after this.